Melissa. Thank you so much for being a part of this study with the Core Harmonizer, and look forward to hearing what you have to say about it.
It's my pleasure. I really enjoyed being a part of this testing.
Do you mind, before we start, sharing some of your background?
Sure, I would be happy to. Well, my background is as a psychotherapist. I am still a psychotherapist for 25 years now. And I also came into using this gas discharge visualization camera about 8 years ago now. I think it's about 8 years. I had the opportunity of working with Dr. Joe Dispenza. I think I did testing for him on 17 of his advanced events.
Wow.
Yeah, and some of that data is in his book, Becoming Supernatural. You can see some of the results of his testing. So I've been doing testing for individuals like yourself who have devices, and I've been testing the energy in the room now, probably 6 of those 8 years. I also use the GDV camera to test people and see how they're doing. And in my psychotherapy practice, I use it to see at the beginning of treatment and then maybe 6 weeks in to see if we're on the mark and we're moving in the right direction.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, shall we dive into your findings with the Core Harmonizer?
Absolutely. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a second to manage how to do that. So this is the Kirlian camera that I use. It's called a GDV Pro. It's a professional grade Kirlian camera. The interesting thing about Kirlian photography is it's been around measuring energy since the 1880s. So this particular camera is a certified medical device in Europe. They use it to take images of humans in a lot of clinics in all over Russia. So this is the camera that we used. And this is the antenna that we use. Now this picture makes the Sputnik look really large. It's only about 4 inches tall, but its name is Sputnik. And again, Dr. Kurakov named it Sputnik. Dr. Kurakov is who created the GDV Pro. It's a digitalized Kirlian camera, and so that was his invention, which has been, I mean, he really changed the face of Kirlian photography. People were using dark rooms in their homes and at their offices, and digitalizing it made things a lot easier for everybody. So basically, what we did in this test is we took a test object and we put it on the glass. And how the Kirlian camera works is right underneath the glass, 10 or 11 millivolts of electricity are administered to the bottom of the glass at the same time the test object is on the glass. And then a picture is taken, a digital picture is taken. And this is the kind of image that we get when we are looking at image of the energy of the area of space. So basically what we're looking at is we're looking at the light blue versus all the other colors, right? So this orange would be considered noise or static or the chaos, the entropy that would be in an area. And the blue is the part that's the most important. That's the healthiest part of the energy. And so whether it's a person, a fingertip, or whether it's a test object, this is usually the image that I'm looking at. And in this case, we took about 1,000 images per test. So we did a baseline, we did the Core Harmonizer off, the Core Harmonizer on, the Core Harmonizer off again. And then we just evaluate there's computer software that goes with the camera that evaluates all the different parameters of this particular energy. So the first parameter that we measured is entropy. Now, the red line is the baseline, or with the Core Harmonizer off, with the area, we were in a room. We did 2 tests. One was in Rhode Island and one was in Poughkeepsie, New York. And both tests had very similar results, meaning that we had a repeatable test, which is always what we like scientifically. And what we saw in both tests is that the entropy reduced. So the red line is the base. This red line is with the Core Harmonizer off. And when the Core Harmonizer was on, the entropy reduced. It reduced pretty substantially, about a half of a point, which is statistically significant. There's another way of looking at this same image, and here you can see it more clearly. Each one of these dots is when the camera takes an image. The camera takes another image. I think we set it at every 10 seconds. So every 10 seconds a dot, and you can see very clearly that the entropy is predominantly much lower than the red, our baseline. And in this case, this baseline was in the night. It was when things were, quiet. There weren't a lot of, the microwave wasn't running. There were no other interferences that might create entropy in and of themselves. So that we got this baseline in the night, and then in the daytime when we ran the Core Harmonizer test, it really, I think this is the most significant result, because it's taking what's going on in the area. I want to use the word area in two different ways. So one of the parameters is area. That's why I keep hesitating. I mean an area like a room or, a general location. that entropy reduced it's a remarkable finding. So that's a pretty interesting thing. The next one that we tested was area. Area also reduced. So area is every bit of that round image that we saw, all the orange, all the pink, all the blue, all the green. It's all of the energy, good or bad, static or otherwise. And that while the Core Harmonizer was going, that overall energy also reduced. That's not always the case. So that's very, very nice. That would lead me to believe that the energy became more settled. And then the last parameter that I have, it almost looks exactly the same. This one's a little fatter, that's the area, and this is the total intensity. What we need to see when we take these tests is that the area and the total intensity are both going in the same direction. If they're going in opposite directions, let's say the area is going down and the intensity is going up, then we know a lot more chaos happened, a lot more entropy. And usually the entropy will show an increase rather than a decrease. So what we have is area and total intensity both reducing and having what we would say is a settling effect on the energy in the area that we tested. So that's the results that we found in these. Like I said before, this is a repeatable test. Both of the tests, we're looking at the Rhode Island test at the moment, but the Poughkeepsie test look just about exactly like this.
Great. Yeah, that's a wonderful finding.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
So much. It's certainly been a pleasure to work with you, with this study, and I'm so glad that we're able to see the results of the data to match what people are verbally telling us testimonial-wise, feeling a sense of calm and peace and so forth. So it's nice when the data matches, the testimonials too. So thank you so much, Melissa, for sharing all this.
It's my pleasure. I love that I know I had my own personal experience with the Core Harmonizer doing the testing, and I certainly felt, I think I told you I felt tingling in my face and in my arms and down my legs. I felt very calm and really centered and grounded after sitting with, while doing these tests. So it was great fun.
No, that's great.
A nice perk.
Definitely. Well, great. Well, thank you so much.
All right. My pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.